What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. It is the 24th day of December, and here we are at about $1.86 with 7 hours and 2 minutes left in the day. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays. Ho, 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 all that stuff. Happy Kwanzaa. Let's get into it, okay? $1.86, 7 hours left in the day. Finding support at the same areas that you found support before. It's not a bad look. If we look at this from a relative low to a relative high, you're also at your golden ratio. It looks like, yes, you literally bounce right off your golden ratio, so that's a good look in itself. Typically, what happens in moments like this, where you're going from a low to a high, you come down to the golden ratio, you either find your low and then you produce higher prices, and you continue to move higher, or here it's just a stopping point. You find resistance at the 382.5 area, and then you go lower to your 786, 886, where hopefully there you find a low. If not, you do continue to go lower. And right now we are finding turbulence in this area. Right now we are looking to close back below the 0.5. If we get back to this golden ratio zone, just understand this, the statistical probability that we go down to about $1.81 to $1.79 is great. It's a very large chance that we go down there. So if we return to a dollar, let's see, probably not even a full $1.84, but let's just say like $1.84.5, we drop like 1.5 cents from here. The probability that we go down to $1.81 to $1.79 is pretty immense. And that could happen. I could definitely see that happening. But that's just by the way of the fibs. Let's look and see the indicators and see what they're saying here. So if we're looking at the 1 hour time frame here, we do have a bit of a downtrend, right? You've got lower highs and lower lows here, but it seems as though you're breaking out of that. You're phasing out of that. So that's encouraging. That definitely doesn't line up with my expectation, or I shouldn't say my expectation, but with the fibs outlining of going lower if we were to break back down to the golden ratio. This looks good. There's some bullish divergence there. I mean, that might be why this move happened. Your stochastics look bullish enough. The MACD's bearish technically, but you are crossed positive, so that's nice in itself. I don't know. I'm kind of curious here. The RSI gives me a little bit of help. Let's look at the 4 hour time frame and see if we can come up with something different. 4 hour RSI, yeah, here's a bit of a different story. And I should have mentioned too that while sometimes you're in a lower low, lower high, sometimes and oftentimes enough, you'll go from this downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, and shift into a sideways trend, which I think we're doing now, and then that shifts into an upwards trend. But while in the sideways trend, we can still come back down and then slowly but surely shift our way up. A lot of people, whenever I say we're breaking out of the downtrend, we're phasing into a sideways trend, they get excited. But the sideways trend is typically where your worst price action is, where the lower prices come in. So it is possible. It is very possible that we do go lower from here. And looking at the 4 hour time frame, looking at this RSI, I'm very convinced of that because we have lower lows and lower highs, and these kind of trends typically don't end until we're in the oversold zone, right? Lower low, lower high didn't end until we were in the oversold zone with bullish divergence, right? Lower lows, lower highs didn't end until we were in the oversold zone. So I would expect that's what we see. If that's what we see, if this is what we're looking at on the 4 hour time frame, certainly I would expect that we go below this low. And if we go below this low, that whole thought that I was explaining at first was actually completely appropriate, which is if we go to the golden ratio, we likely don't bounce here. We'll probably go to the 786, 886, somewhere between $1.81 and $1.79. That's where we will find support. Being at $1.86, it's kind of anticlimactic. It's not that big of a deal, right? It's very, very minimal amounts, but that might be encouraging or helpful for anybody who's got some extra pocket change. They're looking to buy some XRP today, and they're like, you know what, maybe I'll wait a few days. Maybe it will come down here, and I think that it will, honestly. 4 hour stochastics are bearish, and the MACD, yeah, you had a false cross to the upside on the zeros. Here you are building bearish momentum, right? It's building now, so definitely makes sense that we'd go lower, my friends. That's the expectation there. Daily time frame, but again, I'm not expecting anything crazy. Let's say I'm off base. Let's say that I'm way off base, and we're not going to drop to a higher low here, but we're going to drop to a lower low. If we do drop to a lower low, this fake out in itself was like a fake out, and then we broke back in, and that was a fake out. It was like a double fake. If we do go below that low, the expectation there would be that we go to $1.71 to $1.58. I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I am personally expecting that we will find a higher low, but if we do see a lower low, $1.71 to $1.58 is where we would go. And $1.78 to $1.51 is the perfect area to buy. It is not the perfect area to sell, so do not panic sell if we do go down there. But I would more expect, again, a higher low, and then we recover, then we move up. If I am wrong, if I'm really wrong and we don't move down at all, we just move up from here, I mean, you just have to get above these highs, get above $1.96 to prove me wrong. That's all you got to do. get above there, and then I'm wrong. And then at that point, then we start looking to prices that are around like 236, 240, something like that. If I'm wrong, pump 10 cents from here, and that's good. If you do that, that's good enough for a move that'll take us up to 235. Okay. Daily time frame, looking at these oscillators, indicators, the RSI here forming yet again another lower high. Makes sense that we'd come down. Stochastics, bearish. MACD, you cross green, which is nice, but still bearish. Again, something to note, though, with this MACD is you can see how, obviously, you had bullish divergence here. You had some bullish divergence here, right? Not really any over here. But overall, you went from like really deep histogram readings to just, it's getting more and more shallow. It reminds me of this, right, where it was really deep and then it was getting more and more shallow. And what happened back here, right, whenever it got more and more shallow? We saw a fantastic rally, right? We saw an absolutely spectacular rally. So something nice is coming our way very, very soon, okay? But we might have to consolidate still. You know, at this point here, where, you know, like this point here is probably comparable to something over here, we still consolidated for like a month and a half before we actually moved higher, right? And we found lower lows along the way. So if you panicked at all throughout this consolidation, that was the worst time to panic. If you panicked at all when we got lower lows, that was the worst time to panic. Same thing here, right? Just be patient. The light's going to come out at the other end of the tunnel here pretty soon, and it will likely take us back above $3, okay? I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button, please. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all. Take care of yourselves, all right? I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.